everyone from everywhere you're watching us. Welcome to our EUROCUP-3 channel. I'm Laura. I also want to welcome you to this race 2 of the 6th round at Estoril. A very hot race is expected due to weather conditions, with Tazanapol Intrapuvazak starting in pole position, followed by his teammate Steven Mazon, who was the winner of race 1 yesterday and still leading the overall standings. The teams are also fighting for the points, with Campos Racing in the top of the overall standings. My colleague Scott will continue giving you all the details of the race.
Thank you very much, Laura. Yes, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Estoril in Portugal for our third non-Spanish race of the season here in EUROCUP-3. Estoril, of course, the former Portuguese Grand Prix venue, 4.182 kilometres in length, the full Grand Prix circuit in action this weekend. And after yesterday's dominant performance for championship leader Esteban Masson, he's looking to try and do the same again here today. Scott Woodward was here in the commentary box to guide you through all of the action. And after this morning's second qualifying session, Esteban Masson does start once again on the front row of the grid, but he's not on pole position because, as Laura has correctly said, it is the tyre driver Tazanapol Intrapuvazak who starts on pole for this second race of the weekend. So here's the grid then. It's North Campos front row with Intrapuvazak and Masson on the front row. Mari Boyle on row 2 again alongside his MP Motorsport teammate Bruno Del Pino this time. Sebastian Ergaard and Nick Gilks, after his personal best result yesterday, starts from 6th. Javier Segura starting better than yesterday, hoping for a better result from 7th on the grid, ahead of the Jose Garfias. But it will be Dario Cabanellas and Francesco Braschi, who was second in yesterday's race, but back in 10th in qualifying this morning, so not really the result he wanted. There's Miron Pingasov, who starts from 11th on the 6th row of the grid, alongside Suleiman Zamfari. There's Sebastian Gravlund and Jorge Campos, ahead of Daniel Nogales, Emo Fittipaldi and Daniel Mavdiatov, the last two drivers in the GRS team cars, back in 16th and 17th on the grid. So what did yesterday's result do to the championship? Well, Esteban Masson, of course, had his lead completely slashed after his 2 DNFs last weekend at Jerez. But what a difference 7 days makes, because of course he's gone on to take on a pole position and a race win yesterday in pretty dominant fashion. He was victorious yesterday from Francesco Braschi in 2nd place. Then it was Mari Boyer in 3rd, Sebastian Ergaard in 4th. And rounding out the top 5 was Nick Gilks with his best result of the season for the Canadian. What this does to the championship is it helps to slightly rebuild Masson's points lead, because he now heads 2nd place Sebastian Ergaard by 21 points on 177. So Sebastian Ergaard, after his 4th place, has put him on 156. But he now has Mari Boyer closing in on 3rd with 147. And his 3rd place certainly helped him to close in now to a gap of just 11 points between them. Francesco Braschi's 2nd place helped him leap up to 4th. And Jose Garfias rounding out the top 5 was P6, but a slightly quiet P6. And he now sits on 97 points from Javier Segura, who failed to score yesterday, started to finish 13th. It was his first finish outside of the top 10 since the start of the season, back in 13th, when he finished race 1 in Spa in 13th place. And it's his his worst result since the first race at Aragon, when he was declared 10th after the race was he didn't finish the race, but he was classified 10th and the final point scorer, pick up 1 solitary point. Since then, his form has been pretty decent. He's been in the top 5 no less than 4 times and picked up 2 podiums as Segura. But just, I think, struggling yesterday in the temperatures, as many drivers seem to be in some context, because it was an incredibly hot circuit. And the temperatures have started to creep up again once more. It's still 30 degrees ambient temperature, but after slightly cooler conditions for the Spanish F4 race that we've just had, now the sun's starting to get towards that midday sun now. It's coming up to 1:45. It's now coming up to a track temperature of 42 degrees, so it's still incredibly hot out there on track. That will be playing havoc for the tyre pressures, tyre wear and tyre degradation. All the teams will have lots of data to try and counteract that, but of course it'll have to be down to the drivers and how they can make the most out of the setup underneath them in order to maximise the life of the tyre over these next 30 minutes or so. We now get set for our second race of the weekend. Esteban Masson is looking for his 6th win of the season. He's taken doubles before at Aragon and at Zandvoort, won both races. Typically, when he has won the first race, he's gone on to win race 2 as well. So he wants to try and keep that streak up if he can. So Tazanapol Intrapuvazak, who starts this race from pole position. he can make this one happen. Remains to be seen. He has started from pole before. Started back in the first race at Aragon from pole position. His best result to date so far has been third place. He's taken 2 third places, one at Zandvoort, one at Jerez last time out. He's also finished in the top 5 a further 3 times on top of that. But he hasn't finished higher than third. This could be his best chance to take his first EuroCup-3 victory here at Estoril. But of course, Masson will not be playing the team game. He's out for himself, and he's out for his 6th win of the season. A chance to further extend his championship lead. But what about also the cars behind as well? Watch, of course, for Mary Boyer, who spent half the race staring his teammates Sebastian Ergaard's rear wing before he managed to charge through and take third place. Now he's starting ahead of him. Can he make a difference and can possibly change the top 2 if he's got pace underneath him? Watch also, of course, for Bruno Del Pino started from 4th. He's the top rookie in the field on the grid. And what can Nick Gilks do also from the 3rd row if he can improve on P5 yesterday? So, green flag at the back. Race number 2 of the weekend for EuroCup-3 in Estoril. To Sanapol into Pruvasak on pole. Let's see if he can get a good start. A decent row from the front row, but also a good jump from Mary Boyer from the 2nd row. He's already on the attack side by side, trying to get past Esteban Masson, but gets that route cut off. They're right to the inside line. They fan out 3 abreast towards turn 1, and there goes round the outside. Masson looking for the lead. Into Pruvasak tries to squeeze him out wide on the exit, and now they charge towards turn 2 for the first time, and it's side by side between the teammates. Is Masson and Into Pruvasak side by side? Who came out on top of that one? I think it was Masson. Indeed, it was. So Masson does get in front in the first couple of corners. Into Pruvasak now runs wide at Lamy corner, and here comes Mary Boy for MP Motorsport. He's got his 2 teammates Ergaard and Del Pino for company right behind him as they're turning through the curb of VIP, and round the outside looks Mary Boy, and he gets the job done. Brilliant move from Mary Boy to get that move done. He needs to do that to stop and try and prevent Esteban Masson from getting away from him, because he got stuck for half a race yesterday behind his teammate, and that cost him a potential chance of getting any higher than 3rd. Into the interior hairpin for the first time. It's Masson that leads it then. Boyer 2nd. Into Pruvasak, the pole man, down to 3rd. And now under big pressure also from Sebastian Ergaard. That's not weaving from Boyer. That's just him trying to get a bit more heat into his tyres on this opening lap here. They come out through the right-hander Aurelia and out towards the Gancho chicane. And it is now Esteban Masson doing exactly what he did yesterday. Getting to the lead and starting to pull away already. And that's only because the cars behind have been scrapping so much on this opening lap. He's managed to pull away. He's got quite a gap. But the question's now going to be, can Mary Boyer do anything about it? The young Spaniard trying to pick up what could be his 4th win of the season. But he hasn't won a race since Monza, and that was 2 race weekends ago. Yellow flags are being displayed in the final sector for a moment, but they've managed to be brought back in. Now down the pit straight, a few more cars starting to weave to get some temperature back into the tyres. But at the end of lap number 1, it's Masson that leads by 1.8 seconds already. What a start that was from Masson, side by side across the line. Now that's Pingasov and Nick Gilks side by side. The Drive X-Man trying to hold on the inside line. Nick Gilks goes sideways, there's a bit of tangle as he runs wide on the exit. Pingasov comes back at him. I think Pingasov will have to take that place, and Gilks will try and fight back on the outside if it's possible. But looks like Gilks has had to capitulate and give him the place. Meanwhile, that is Segura under threat. In fact, he's going round the outside of Del Pino, excuse me. So he's now holding on. No, he's battling with Garfias, excuse me. There's so many MP Motorsport cars, you're trying to pick out who's where. So as they come out of the curb of VIP, Masson's lead is now up to 2 seconds slightly. In for Pruvasak trying to come back at Boyer now. He's got a small gap on Ergaard. Meanwhile, Segura has managed to hold off Garfias for the mode, but Garfias has a look up the inside line, a big dive into the interior hairpin. He's forcing Segura to take the outside line to get back onto the power, and Garfias pulls himself level. He'll be on the outside for the next corner at Aurelia. But if he's got the grip and the pace, he might well take it round the outside. He's going for it. Segura will try and squeeze him out wide. If he can try and make that position stick, which he almost does. In fact, he does. A great move from Garfias. Really decisive pass there to try and make that move. He set it up right at the interior hairpin, forced Segura to go wide, and then for the next couple of corners, he put him right off the racing line. And that really did help Garfias to hold on to that stickier pass the racing line where all the rubber's been laid down. Segura had no answer for it, and he's back down to 7th. Now got Pingasov not far away from him now in 8th place. Gilks is down to 9th, and Cabanellas is in the top 10. Across the line come the leaders. The gap is now 2.6, so another 8 tenths increase for Esteban Masson. Boyer in 2nd place, in for Pruvasak only 6 tenths back behind him. And this is the key thing now. This is where it gets to be a little bit more interesting. What can Boyer do to try and close that gap in? And is he going to become the cork in the bottle here? Because yesterday, ironically, it was Ergaard that was the cork in the bottle, as Boyer was stuck behind him. But now Boyer not able to really have any answer in this initial few minutes to try and catch up to this man, Esteban Masson, because the young Frenchman seems to have this race already firmly under control. Take a look at the start. It was a good start initially. You saw Boyer there trying to squeeze himself alongside. And actually, it was Masson that led the way down towards turn 1. Intrapuvasat tried to come back down the outside line. They went toe-to-toe, exiting curve 1. Boyer watched on as he had his 2 teammates on for company. And then Boyer just was forcing Intrapuvasat to go defensive. And I think the Thai driver just had one eye on his teammate in front and another on Boyer behind him. And Boyer just sent it round the outside at curve VIP. A lot more grip and confidence than the Thai driver, and through into second place he went. Boyer now 2.8 seconds back behind Esteban Masson. As I mentioned, he's had 3 wins so far this season. One at Spa in very mixed conditions that weekend. And he did the double at Monza, picked up both wins in Italy. Did the Spaniard. And now trying to pick up more points to solidify, if I can get the words out. That's one car off the road. Is that one of the DriveX machines possibly? Trying to work out exactly who it is. I can't quite tell from this distance. It might be. The only one I can suggest is possibly. It's difficult to tell who that is and where that is also. And it's quite difficult. Safety car's been deployed, but again, it's tricky to work out who it is and also exactly where it is. That might be. Is that possibly? That's one of the DriveX cars coming in also. It might be the DriveX car, in fact, actually. In. Again, couldn't quite make out the number on that car. It's Pingasov that's in. So Pingasov is the one that's into pit lane. And who was he? I couldn't quite see who he was battling with. There's one of the GRS cars towards the back of the field. That's Daniel Mavlyatov, who has a little bit of experience in single-seater racing in the UK. A little bit of Formula Ford experience. And he's right towards the back of the field. I think the car that's possibly involved is 26. And that was Jorge Campos has had the issue. And we've got some replay here. Oh, and that was a tangle with Mavlyatov. So Mavlyatov and Campos have come together. And the Mexican is the one that's trying to recover. As he's tried to recover, Mavlyatov's car has struggled to get going. He's also got damaged front right suspension as well, so that hasn't really helped him. And because of that, it's seen him beached on the curb. And now, the incident involving Mavlyatov and Campos, is now under investigation. So I imagine that Mavlyatov hasn't really made himself very popular in the Palou Motorsport camp. So many very similarly liveried cars, I have to be honest, that sometimes trying to identify them is a little bit tricky. But so if I did misidentify that as one of the DriveX cars, then please accept my apologies. Alex Palou, in fact, of course, double IndyCar champion, won the title a few weeks ago, and was here testing one of his own cars with the team on Friday, just to help some of his drivers out with setup and a bit more development. And if you want to know exactly how fast he was 4th fastest for the record. So even double IndyCar champions are pretty quick and on the pace. So safety car has been deployed then, and this large lead that Esteban Masson had, this safety car literally it benefits everyone really, apart from one man, and it's the race leader. Because Esteban Masson had a lead of about 2.8, almost 3 seconds, and now it gives a chance to Mari Boyer to try and pounce on the restart, because you saw how racy he was yesterday and how much he pulled away from his teammate after he managed to pick his way around him, after basically staring at his gearbox for half a race. And once he managed to squeeze through, he was able to try and charge after the top 2, but by that time they were several seconds up the road and pretty clear. So I imagine if they've been able to recover Jorge Campos' car pretty quickly, we may well get a safety car restart very shortly, potentially even on this lap. But it depends on whether or not the Palou Motorsport car has been recovered. Masson, meanwhile, will be hoping to try and take another victory for Campos. But safety car lights are still on for the time being. The signal is when they go out is when racing can get back underway. We'll also get a message on the screen, of course, saying safety car in this lap. They're still recovering Jorge Campos' car. It's now been recovered off the curb, as you can see. Rather frustrated Jorge trudging away. Palou Motorsport with 5 cars in the mix. Miron Pingasov also came into pit lane as well. And Javier Segura, after a tough race yesterday, outside the top 10, running currently in 7th place. Safety car will bring them round for one more lap. That's all they really need. Taking stock of where we are then, coming towards 1/3 distance in this race. Esteban Masson, championship leader, looking for his 7th win of the season. He's currently in the lead of the race. Mary Boyer, 2nd place. To Sana Polinthropoulos, the pole sitter after qualifying this morning. He's in 3rd. He gets a bit of reprieve also to try and close in on the top 2. Sebastian Ergaard in 4th. Bruno Del Pino in 5th. 6th for Jose Garfias. So the MP Motorsport cars are outnumbering the Campos machines 4-2 in the top 6. So you think that they might start to play a bit of a team game here. And I suppose that Mary Boyer wants to try and pull away, but in my head I'm making up a scenario where Boyer gets in front and then stacks up both the Campos cars to get swamped by his 3 teammates, but I'm not quite sure that might happen. Outside the top 6, Javier Segura in 7th place. Nick Gilks is down to 8th. You have then Daniel Cabanellas in 9th, and Francisco Braschi, who finished 2nd yesterday behind his teammate Masson. He tried to pick his way up the order where he could from qualifying this morning. He qualified this morning in 10th, and he stayed 10th at the moment. So not really any progress at this point. Track temperature is getting a bit hotter. It's now 43 degrees, so you can tell it's getting towards midday sun. Mary Boyer pulling alongside Esteban Masson, saying, come on, get on with it. That's a bit of an intimidation tactic, Max Verstappen style, I think. Now then, let's see how the recovery is going on and whether or not the safety car lights will be extinguished this time by. Pack still being led around. And is it still being recovered? The answer is yes. It's causing a bit longer recovery than I think many expected, I think. Because they're still hooking up that car to the halo. So it looks like it will be another lap around the safety car. Remember, coming into this race after yesterday's victory, Esteban Masson managed to get his points lead back up to 21 points after he came into the weekend just 7 after his disastrous double DNF last weekend at Jerez. But how much of a difference 7 days makes is pretty incredible. And he's been on top form just about in every session this weekend. The only session he's really missed out on, effectively, is getting pole for race 2 because he lost out to his teammate Sana Polinthropoulos by a 1/4 of a second. But the better start for Masson has helped him to pull alongside and get the lead early on and maintain that advantage over the first couple of laps. The safety car has really closed things back in once more, and it will give a chance for Boyer and Polinthropoulos and potentially Ergaard and Del Pino and Garfias the chance to get themselves into the mix and cause a problem. Should talk about the rookie contest as well, and it is Bruno Del Pino who leads for MP Motorsport there. He's in 5th overall. The next best placed rookie is Daniel Cabanellas in 9th, 2nd in the category, and then in 11th place you've got the 3rd of the rookies, and that is the number 35 of Sebastian Gravland, the Danish driver. 4th in that category is Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. Yes, of course, descendant of that Emerson Fittipaldi. Almost goes without saying. Then Daniel Nogales rounds out the top 5 in rookies from the 6th placed man, Suleiman Zamfari from Morocco, and then it's Miron Pingasov for Pilot Motorsport 6th, and Jorge Campos was another of the rookies in 7th. Now, I get the feeling that the safety car speeding up now suggests we may well get a safety car restart this lap, unless they haven't recovered the car just yet, which they have. So it should mean we should get things going underway this time by. Hopefully we'll get a notice on the screen in a few seconds' time to tell us that we are going back racing. And safety car has picked up the pace. And there we go, safety car in this lap, just like magic. Now then, this is intimidation tactics from Mary Boyer. He's putting himself alongside because he knows that Masson is going to control this restart here, just for those who need it. Now the safety car's coming in. It's Masson that becomes the safety car. He chooses when to get this race underway. But Boyer is going to stick to his rear diffuser like glue here for a second. He's staying close, trying to position himself for the restart. We're not going yet. This almost is the back of Masson. He's taken that long to take the restart. He really is leaving it late. He's almost swerved there into the path of Mary Boyer as he's trying to put himself alongside. He is a late restart from the race leader here. He's not taking any chances. Some slight frustration tactics here. And again, he hasn't even gone yet. This is a very late restart. We saw the Spanish F4 race. They went on the exit of the S's, but they're still stacked up. The green flag's in the air, but Masson hasn't even put his foot down yet. He's still holding them up. This is extraordinary to Esteban Masson. This is quite extreme. Whether or not the stewards will take a dim view at this, I'm not sure, but he really is leaving it incredibly late for the restart, darting this way and that. I'm not sure this is something the stewards will take on very lightly. This is a very, very late restart, and this is frustrating everybody else. Now he goes, but that's one of the latest restarts I've ever seen in a single-seater race. That was incredibly late, and now it's taken Mari Boyer with him. Now it's put Inter Puvasak, actually. It's actually hasn't helped his teammate, because Inter Puvasak's got both of the MP Motorsport cars in 4th and 5th. Of Ergard and Del Pino right behind him. Del Pino looks around the outside. No, it's Ergard looking around the outside. He's gone past his teammate Del Pino. Then Ergard runs out wide and loses back out to his teammate again. But that was there's late restarts, and then there's that from Esteban Masson. That was incredibly cheeky from the Frenchman. A couple of cars running wide also, but Boyer has gone with him on the restart. The teammates behind him, Ergard now and Del Pino, have both got past Inter Puvasak. So in actual fact, Masson's very late restart has actually been at the detriment of his teammate, because he's lost 2 places, and he might well lose more in the second, because now Javier Segura is trying to get himself involved here. It's Garfias, in fact. So Garfias has got past Segura, and now up the inside he goes into the interior hairpin and past Inter Puvasak. So that really late restart has absolutely hampered him to Sanapol Inter Puvasak, and it's cost him 3 places as a result of that. I have to say, I'm not one to play politics, but if I was to Sanapol Inter Puvasak, I wouldn't be quite too impressed by that restart. But it's cost him more than been a benefit. So as they come out of the S's and up towards the Parabolica for the first time on the restart, still Masson from Boyer. And now they come out of the final hairpin. Make their way now towards the come down the pit straight once again. And now side by side here. This is now between Nick Gilks and Francesco Braschi, and Braschi now up into 8th position past the Canadian. So Masson, Boyer, Ergard, Del Pino from Garfias, then Inter Puvasak, Segura. It's now Braschi up to 8th. 9th is Gilks, and 10th is Ravland. Cabanellas in 11th place, Fittipaldi 12th, then Zamfari, Nogales, Mavlyatov, Pingasov, and Campos. Campos, of course, not running after his collision with Mavlyatov, and that's being investigated. But now the restart, Masson has got a 1.2 second lead now, so despite that very late restart, it has allowed himself to pull underway. Now, and not surprisingly, I have to say, car 9 under investigation for the safety car procedure. So Esteban Masson might find himself in trouble here for that late restart. We'll wait and see. We'll let the stewards decide what they're going to do with that one, if anything. And this is the restart here, you can see. This is what happens. You can see it's 3 abreast for 3rd place. Inter Puvasak's on the inside line. Round the outside of his teammate goes Ergard, and then Ergard then holds on to the place, also running wide there. Well, that was Inter Puvasak running wide into Lamy corner. Also, there was Segura losing out to the place from the other of the cars. That was Garfias, who also got past Segura. So now you've got MP Motorsport cars in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Inter Puvasak's down to 6th, and also now coming under threat from now both Segura and Braschi. And Braschi's really come alive on this restart. Number 28, the 3rd of the white and black cars in the mix. They're 2 different teams, because you've got the Segura car, which is the Polo Motorsport machine, now in a sandwich of 2 Campos machines. And as they come out of Curva 2 and towards Lamy, MP Motorsport in flying formation now in the top 5. Into Puvasak, and it's Segura, then Braschi. What time's that for Braschi last time? Right, let's just take a look at that. Braschi's last sector, he matched Segura in the 1st sector. Last lap time, yeah, Braschi was about 2/10 quicker last time, right? And, oh boy, actually was 3/10 quicker on this 2nd sector than Esteban Masson, so a mistake there from the Frenchman. And the gap's down to 1.2 seconds now, so it was about 1.82 seconds, but it's come back down again now, and Boyer starting to come back at the Campos driver. Speaking of coming back, Intrapuvacak's found a bit of groove on this restart because he's now also on this lap, because after a shaky restart, he's now getting straight onto the back of Bruno Del Pino. And now through the uphill chicane at Gancho. And the rest of the top 10. There's Nick Gilks for DriveX. There's Sebastian Gravland, another of the MP Motorsport drivers in P10. Gravland also hoping for a possible strong result, given that you look at where he's been so far this year. Gravland's best result of the season was 6th back at Aragon. Currently sits at the moment at the bottom of the top 10. There's one of the Santalot cars. That's Dario Cabanellas, just behind Gravland. Cabanellas, who only started the season at the previous rounds at Jerez and did so far picked up a 9th place. As now we see here, change of position. And that was Segura losing the position to Braschi. So up to 7th place goes yesterday's 2nd place man. Meanwhile, up at the front, Boyer has the fastest lap of the race, and he's got the gap down by half a second on that last lap. Lost a bit of time in the first sector, but he's very strong in these twisty parts of the course here. But Masson, not only under investigation, but also under increasing pressure now from Harry Boyer. Fastest lap of the race for the Spaniard. Now, with 9.5 minutes to go, I reckon that Esteban Masson might be under a bit of pressure here for the victory. There's his fastest lap of the race. 1:36.159. He will get the bonus point for fastest lap if it stays this way. See Boyer just closing in. Visibly, you can see much more through that section. The gap is down to 7/10, so Boyer seems a lot happier in these conditions and on these tyres than Masson does. Now, this is what happened at the restart. You can see here, it's an incredibly late restart, and Masson just weaving from side to side very, very slowly. Everyone's stacking up beside them. In fact, Intrapuvacak practically nearly overtaking Mary Boyer unintentionally, because they're all trying to keep in formation, and that's what's under investigation by the stewards. And as I mentioned, I've seen late restarts, but that is one of the latest restarts I've seen to a single-seater race, at the very least, for a long, long time. So that was incredibly cheeky. And we'll see if the stewards find it within the rules, or if they decide that he requires a potential penalty. But that's their decision, not mine. I'm not a clerk of the course, so I'll carry on. But what I can tell you is that Boyer was right underneath Masson's rear wing there. That's not 0.8 per second anymore. That's much closer this time by. Potential fight also for 3rd, possibly incoming, between Sebastian Ergaard and Jose Garfias. Garfias could do with some good points. He's currently 5th in the championship. Best result of 3rd. He's taken 1 podium so far this year. That was at the 2nd race at Aragon. Apart from that, he's had a long string of 6th positions. He's taken, ironically, 6th places. So he can take another one. It'll be number 7. If he's 4th at the moment, so he'll take one of his best results since Monza. Finished 4th twice this season. Once at Aragon, where he also scored that podium, and also in the 2nd race at Monza. So for the races he's actually competed in, he's had a very strong and consistent run of. He's only retired from the first race at Spa, but since then he's been incredibly consistent. Hasn't finished lower than 6th all season, which is very impressive for him. And he's managed to keep some good results when others have not been able to maintain theirs. I'm not sure if Masson can maintain the lead here either, because Boyer's got a good toe here down the pit straight. Maybe not close enough for an attack here, but he's getting closer. He's into striking range at the moment, but he just needs to get a little bit closer, possibly out of the final corner, to get a run down the pit straight. But Esteban Masson, after dominating yesterday's first race by 6.3 seconds, this ain't 6.3 seconds anymore, it's more like 0.6 of a second. Mary Boyer, very fired up here in this 2nd race, and looking to try and knock Esteban Masson's perfect record this year of winning both races in every weekend he wins. Won both races at Aragon, won both races at Zandvoort. He can try and keep that record up by winning this 2nd race, but he's going to have to do it the hard way. The next 6.5 minutes plus 1 lap. Down to the interior hairpin. Boy seems a bit more comfortable as that car turns in. We saw yesterday that his car is really comfortable in taking that tighter line through the corners. That car loves to get traction and really claw its way through the tighter parts of the corner, on the tighter line on the inside. It just seems to have really nice traction and grip through these tighter sections. You see it here. He's good under brakes also. through the Gancho chicane. Still Masson holding on to that position as much as he can. And Boyer is, I think, as close as he's ever been now. It's quite a good chance here for Boyer to possibly mount an attack, because he might well get a little bit closer. He could be losing a little bit of momentum exiting the Parabolica Ayrton Senna. It's a long, long pit straight, and Masson is into the pit lane. Esteban Masson into the pit lane. It's a drive-through penalty. Now, hasn't come up on the screen, but a drive-through penalty then for Esteban Masson, the championship leader. And that is for the safety car procedure, so he has been penalised for it. So Esteban Masson then, it is a drive-through penalty for the championship leader, and it will not be a 6th win of the season. So Mary Boyer takes over in front, and it's now an MP Motorsport 1, 2, 3, 4 out in front. So Masson then serves his penalty for that late restart. He's giving a shake of the head there, wondering, what did I do wrong? But he thinks he can communicate on the radio, saying, look, guys, I was the leader, I was restarting. What was the problem? Well, that's something to argue with the stewards after later on. But that's a Mary Boyer. Well, he's now got a very clear gap out in front now. And this is now his race, effectively, to lose, because after all the pressure he's put Masson under, he now has got quite a gap of 3.1 seconds in front. And I'll tell you what, MP Motorsport are going to be an absolute dreamland if this stays as it is, because you've got 4 of their cars in the top 4 now. Mary Boyer from Sebastian Ergaard, from Jose Garfias, and then Bruno Del Pino, who's also in line to win the rookie contest ahead of Sebastian Graveland and Daniel Cabanella. So it could also be as well, not just that, but they'll have possibly 2 of MP Motorsport drivers on the rookie podium and a complete lockout of MP Motorsport on the overall podium. So it could be literally, I think there's only one trophy that they won't get for this race. It's going to be the 3rd place trophy in rookie, which will go to Dario Cabanellas at this point for Santalot Racing, should things stay as they are. It's less than 4 minutes to go. Still Mary Boyer with a 3.1 second advantage now. He's clear out in front. He will be looking to try and pick up now his 2nd win. His 4th win of the season. Of course, the victory at Spa, double at Monza. And he's got a bit of a trend here of winning at circuits outside of Spain, because of course he took the victory at Spa in Belgium, both the wins at Monza in Italy. Didn't quite manage anything at Zandvoort, got a 2nd place at Zandvoort. But here at Estoril, he is looking on course to pick up his 4th win of the season and winning in his 3rd different country in this championship, being Spa, of course, and then Monza, and then here at Estoril. Now, 2nd and 3rd looks relatively settled, because you've got Sebastian Ergaard up to 2nd place. Ergaard has had 1 win, and that was last time out at Jerez in race 2. He's also scored a further 4 podiums. This will be podium number 5 for the Dane. And we talked about Jose Garfias earlier on. The Mexican has had 1 podium at Aragon. This will match his personal best if he can hold on to 3rd place. Bruno Del Pino also is also on course to match his best result of the season. His best has been 4th, and that was the race 1 at Zandvoort. So some strong results all round for MP Motorsport, and this will also, quite clearly, this will give them a massive chunk of points, because it counts their 2 best results. So they will pick up, say, the 2nd time which they've had cars finish 1st and 2nd if it stays as it is, and they'll pick up a massive chunk of points to try and even, I think, possibly leapfrog themselves over Campos. Looking further back in the order as the rest of the pack goes streaming down the pit straight. And Esteban Masson, for the record, has rejoined back in 15th position. Make it 14th now, because he's just got past Daniel Mavlyatov. And he's got 9 seconds to make up, but I can't see him closing in 9 seconds on the 13 of Daniel Nogales for DriveX. Can't see that happening. So get some of the mid-race packs going on here. That was Nogales going through the shot there. Meanwhile, this is Javier Segura, 6th position for the Spaniard. And Segura might not be one of his best weekends by his standards. Segura's didn't have that best, had his equal worst result yesterday when he picked up 13th place. He hasn't won a race so far this season, but he has taken 3 podiums, including a 2nd place. Segura now coming under threat from the recovering Francesco Braschi, who was second yesterday. He's had 3 second places and 2 wins as the Italian. As we see here, this is Inthra who might be trying to spoil the MP Motorsport party and that 1, 2, 3, 4 lockout, but he's got 2 laps to do it. And possibly salvage something for Campos from this race, because at the moment, he will be their best finishing driver. But the points will come effectively from 5th and 7th rather than anything to do with a win. Yesterday, of course, it was for the team's championship. It was a 1-2, where it's going to be quite a different story here this afternoon. Also, some warnings. A second warning flag to car 28, which is Francesco Braschi for track limits. You've got to be careful not to go to run too wide anymore, otherwise you might well cop time penalty. So penultimate lap here at Estoril. Out of the hairpin curve of VIP and back down towards the middle of the circuit when they come back towards the interior hairpin. And Inthra looking at his last lap time, he was 2/10 slower than Del Pino. He's been fractionally faster in the first sector, a 10th quicker in the second sector. He's just edging himself back towards him. He wants to make a move. He's going to have to try and set him up here for a last lap dive. He's getting closer, and the pole man wants to try and salvage not just the top 5, but a 4th place as well. As I mentioned, Inthra has only had 2 podiums this season. He's finished 4th once. That was in race 2 at Zandvoort. But if he doesn't get past, it'll be another top 5 for him, and it will help him to try and maintain, if he can, or at least get as many points as he can to try and hold on to potentially 7th place. He's ahead of Javier Segura, but he won't actually outscore him very much. In fact, he'll take a couple of points out of Segura, but it shouldn't change too much. Now then, speaking of Segura, he's not comfortable staying on the slipstream as here comes Inthra looking to try and make it 4th place for the Campos man. Down the outside goes the Thai driver, making the sweep around the outside and towards turn 1. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can. But Del Pino comes back at him on the exit, but Inthra throws the block. Thank you very much, Bruno. And up into P4 he goes. So it won't be a clean sweep for the first 4 places for MP Motorsport unless Del Pino has any response. And initially you can see in the opening couple of corners after that move, he does not. So Inthra then gives a small silver lining to Campos' slightly tougher race than they wanted. And for the record, Esteban Masson hasn't risen higher than 14th. He's now 7.5 seconds behind Daniel Nogales in 13th, but he won't catch him by this time because he's coming up now to on the final lap of the race. There's Segura still being chased down by Braschi. Nick Gilks is not too far away too. But as Mary Boy, as you see there, Inthra now still being chased down by Del Pino right towards the flag as we make our way to the final few corners of this second EuroCup-3 race of the weekend. As we watch for them to make their way out through the final couple of corners. We'll wait now the arrival of our race 2 winner in a few moments' time, because he'll be coming to the final couple of the corners any second now, I imagine. So looking at them as come across the line, and it is victory in race number 2 in EuroCup-3 in Estoril for Mari Boyer, and for celebrations all round for MP Motorsport, because it isn't just a win, it's a 1, 2, 3 for the MP Motorsport squad. The Dutch team will be absolutely overjoyed at that. It could have been 1, 2, 3, 4, but Tassanapol Inthra spoils the party, picks up 4th, the pole man adding more points to his tally from today. Del Pino 5th, Segura 6th, Braschi 7th, Nick Gilks 8th, it's then Graveland 9th and Cabanellas rounding out the top 10. And the key result also is Esteban Masson, after his drive-through penalty for that, after his restart was deemed to be an infringement, he finishes 14th and does not score any points. And that's his worst finishing result of races that he's finished. Of course, he had that double retirement at Jerez, but for races that he's actually taken the checkered flag in, that's his worst finish and his first non-point score finish of the season. But for MP Motorsport, they will be in dreamland. Murray Boy picking up some of the extra debris on the circuit to help him with the weight afterwards. But that couldn't have been better for MP Motorsport. It could have been a 1, 2, 3, 4, of course, but at the very least, they'll take a clean sweep of the podium. I imagine it'll be a sea of orange and black down in pit lane for the podium celebration shortly. I'm sure that Campos will feel very much aggrieved, and I'm certain that they, as would they, I guess any team naturally will go to the stewards and possibly appeal the decision where possible, because now it's happened, it's difficult to reverse it. but MP Motorsport really have been in flying formation. You can see all 4 cars together. Look at this at the front. Well, that's a team photo if ever I saw one. But a great effort from Mari Boyer to pick up his 4th win of the season. That will certainly help him gain a few more points back on his teammate. And it's been a great adventure for EUROCUP-3 this weekend in Estoril. Of course, they've got 2 more rounds still to go, back in native Spain. Circuito Ricardo Tormo in Valencia coming up in a couple of weeks' time. And then rounding off the season, it will be at the home of the Spanish Grand Prix, the Circuito de Barcelona Catalunya, to round off the inaugural EUROCUP-3 season. And it has been quite an entertaining season from start to finish so far. Drivers making their way into pit lane, and we'll get a clean sweep of 3 orange cars. I can hear the cheers already in the background. There is big celebrations all around. MP Motorsport, rightfully so, are absolutely beside themselves. You're not seeing things, it is a sea of orange. It is 1, 2, 3 for MP Motorsport. They are a powerhouse in single-seaters. Also, of course, the rookie win for Bruno Del Pino as well. Mari Boyer climbs the top of the car, beats his chest. He is delighted. Jumps down, and it'll be hugs and celebrations all round. He's absolutely beside himself. He cannot believe he's taking his 4th win. And you can tell he worked hard for that. Until Masson came in for his penalty, he really was giving Masson a bit of a headache. But I'm certain as soon as Masson dived into pit lane, there would have been quite a smile underneath that helmet. And of course, again, it is congratulations, it's hugs, it's handshakes, it's smiles and celebrations and cheers all round for the squad. And as I mentioned, that will also be a huge haul of points for them in the Teams Championship. They'll make some very big ground over Campos Racing after Campos only managed 4th and I think 7th in the end. So that's going to be a huge chunk for them. It's going to be what 43 points. But they'll take plus any bonus points as well for fastest lap, if any. There's also down there too as well. This is some of the action from earlier on in the race. This was where we saw that was in for Puvasat losing out to 2nd place and towards the end. This was further back Nick Gilks getting caught up with one of the Pelot Motorsport cars. He's having a big battle there. Also there you saw that was Segura who lost the place when he lost out to the 99 of Jose Garfias. This is also now back further back. This is Garfias and Segura when managed to make the move stick. This is the collision between the Jorge Campos and Daniel Mavlytov. And then here's the moment which really caused the controversy. It was that incredibly late restart from Esteban Masson that closed everyone up, and this is essentially what lost into Puvasat a potential shot at a podium, because he lost out to both of the MP Motorsport cars in the end. Just touched the wheel onto the grass going into Lamy corner. It drifted him out wide, and as the MP Motorsport cars essentially hunted in a pack, it was the Campos cars that fell by the wayside. So, results of race number 2 then. Mari Boyer with his 4th win of the season by 6 seconds from his teammates Sebastian Ergaard and Jose Antonio Garfias, making an MP Motorsport 1, 2, 3 in the end. Into Puvasat 4th from pole. Filipino wins rookie in 5th from Segura, Braschi, Gilks, Bravland and Cabanellas rounding out the top 10. So that is pleasing sight for MP Motorsport all round. The rookie win and a lockout of the overall podium. And then it was 11th for Emo Fittipaldi, 12th for Suleiman Zanfari, 30th for Daniel Nogales, and championship leader Esteban Masson 14th after his drive-through penalty for his late restart. Mavlytov got caught up with Lloyd Campos, who retired, and also we saw Mario Pingasov with trouble in the end as well. We've got 2 podiums here to quickly run through, which is our overall top 3, and we also have our rookie podium as well on top of that. And we will sign off here from Estoril very, very shortly. There's Mari Boyer, who is in conversation with his team. One or two of the motorsport drivers just trudging up the stairs. You think after getting a top 3 podium and a rookie win that they'd look a bit happier, but I'm sure it was quite an exhausting day today. Again, temperatures have been very, very high. Still 30 degrees air temperature. Track temperature is 44 degrees. It keeps on soaring upwards, and it was as high as 48, 49 yesterday. So it really has been quite a tough weekend for the cars, at least, and for the drivers, given how warm it's been. So in terms of, as I mentioned, the next round's coming up. As you see some more highlights here from that second race. And that was, I think, Inthra who was under threat from initially then from Jilks and from a few more. This was the move we saw here between one of the Drivex Palou Motorsport cars against Campos, and this was Esteban Masson, who, of course, you had that lead after the restart ahead of Mari Boyer, and then there's the drive-through which Masson had to serve for his late restart. It was deemed to be unsporting, at least by the stewards. Inthra went on the pursuit of 4th place. There is Javier Segura, who had that move, and this is the move that Inthra pulled on Del Pino to take 4th place, twitched it over the curb, and he managed to make the move stick and deny MP Motorsport a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, but they'll still take a lockout of the podium. That's another very strong result for them, and they will certainly enjoy that all the way to the next rounds. So just before the podium gets underway, just a very quick reminder of where the next rounds are. October 14th and 15th in a couple of weeks' time at Ricardo Tormo Circuit in Valencia. And then the last round of the championship are in the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Montmeló, and that's November 11th and 12th. And that will round out the first season of EUROCUP-3. And there's a few more races actually getting up. I think the next race on track is the TCR Spain race. That's coming up very shortly, but of course the stream here will focus on just EuroCup-3 matters. And we're just awaiting the podium presentations to get underway here at Estoril for this second race of the weekend. As we await the podium now, the podium presentation is now underway here for race number 2 of the EuroCup-3. It's 3rd place course to Jose Antonio Garfias, the Mexican. It is 2nd place to Sebastian Ergaard, the Dane, and of course completing a complete lockout of orange and black on the podium. It is going to be a 4th win of the season for Mari Boyer, the young Spaniard, and that keeps him in the hunt certainly for the championship, even with a bit of social media on top of that as well. So up the top he gets, and of course naturally representative from MP Motorsport, and there's a lot of celebrations down there. That is a very, very worthwhile day's work for EuroCup-3. Still one more race for them to go in the weekend, still the 3rd Spanish F4 race to come for their squad before they can pack up and go home. But it is trophies all round for Jose Antonio Garfias in 3rd place, for Sebastian Ergaard picking up 2nd, and 4th gold trophy of the year for the man on the top step of the podium, and the loudest cheers of all for Mari Boyer, who is absolutely delighted with that. And of course, some silverware for the team to take home back to the workshop as well. Another trophy for them. As they post the photos, we will now give a quick pause for the national anthem, the winning driver, that once again being from Spain. Excellent stuff. So as the overall podium comes to a close, we also come to a close here for EuroCup-3. It's been a magnificent weekend. Victories apiece for Esteban Masson and for Mari Boyer. The championship now moves on in a couple of weeks' time back to its native Spain and head to the Circuito de Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. Join us in a couple of weeks' time for more EuroCup-3 action. But for myself, Scott Woodward, and all of us here at Estoril, thanks for watching and tuning in a couple of weeks when we head back to Spain for more EuroCup-3 action. Bye for now.